Damn. I mean, I don't even really know what to think about that basketball game. The Detroit Pistons, they're building something special. And non-casual fans can recognize that the Detroit Pistons have enough talent on their roster to be excited about the future. I mean, you look top to bottom this roster, there are several players who I would love to have on my roster, particularly tonight, Jeremy Grant, Cade Cunningham, to name a couple. Sadiq Bey's dope, Killian Hayes is dope, Isaiah Stewart is dope. Now, granted, they beat the Toronto Raptors tonight, which, I was upset. I post a lot of Raptors content on my channel, and I was really thinking the Toronto Raptors were going to win this basketball game, but the Detroit Pistons won, and you got to give them credit. Like, you have to give this team credit. Now, granted, I mean, Toronto was missing a couple of key players. Like, they were without Freddie. They were without Yuta. I don't know if he's as key as Fred. I believe they were without Kem Birch again tonight. So, I mean, I guess Toronto is on the, they're like a little bit injured right now. It was just kind of a tough night for Toronto because, like, Kem's got something a little going on right now, and then Freddie just did his big ball thing, and then he missed it for a groin. It's weird, but this isn't a Raptors video. This is a Pistons video because I promised you guys I'm posting more Pistons content on this channel. Also, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. We're trying to get that YouTube algorithm getting us on the way up. We're obviously here in a different location here if you're a longtime fan of the channel. So the audio might sound a little bit weird, but don't worry, I'll be back to normal tomorrow. Let's take a look at some team stats because Toronto got off to a good start, just like Detroit, but Detroit, they kept fighting. And I think that's been a huge thing for Detroit this season is starting slow. And, I mean, typically with young teams, that's an issue you're going to have is just starting games a little bit slow. And tonight, they scored 31 in the first. They were right there with Toronto. Gary Trent Jr. was on absolute fire in the first quarter. So the fact that they were able to get out of the first quarter, score 31 points, that's a positive. I guess they're losing, but they scored 31 points, and Gary Trent Jr. I don't think Gary Trent Jr. actually missed in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So Toronto was shooting very well. They were pretty efficient, and the fact Detroit, 3-point game heading into the second quarter, that's what they need. Detroit, as the season goes on, they will get off to good starts. Like, it'll just, obviously, it'll just constantly improve. I guess that's the hope. But maybe not with a team like the Pelicans who seem to be kind of like struggling right now. But you look at Detroit, they're definitely on their way up. Another thing I really liked about them tonight was the three ball. 15 of 35 for a 43% clip. Now, Toronto really shot themselves in the foot tonight. They missed, 11 free throws? They shot 20 of 31 for 64.5%. When you look at when you look at Detroit, they only missed 4. 26 of 30. So they were able to keep their turnovers in check because Toronto has they have really good defenders. They have really good defenders, top to bottom. Also, Toronto was out without Precious Achiuwa tonight, so that helps Detroit there. But altogether, Detroit, it was a great game. They played a great game. Let's get into some actual player statistics. I want to double-check Toronto, though, just to make sure that they did have Kem Birch. They had Kem Birch, but they were without Precious Achiuwa tonight. So let's get on to Detroit, because they had, 3 players in 20? Just two players in 20. Jeremy Grant. I think Jeremy Grant, ever since that Rockets game where he scored, I believe he scored like 21 in the third quarter, 19 in the third quarter, something like that. Ever since that Houston Rockets game, I think Jeremy has definitely been catching his groove to a more consistent degree. Tonight, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 of 16 from the field, 2 of 3 from downtown. This is the Jeremy Grant that the Detroit Pistons saw last season. Like, this is actually, he could actually kind of control different parts of basketball games. The thing with Jeremy Grant is when he decided to go to Detroit, it was kind of like, it was a little confusing. It was a little confusing why he decided on Detroit. Why Detroit? Troy Weaver. I look at this roster, even their bench tonight. No Luka Garza, Trey Lyles, Corey Joseph, Frank Jackson, Josh Jackson. You have the perfect blend of veterans and young talent. So if Jeremy Grant decided to go to Detroit 2 years ago, I wonder who else is going to decide to go to Detroit here in the next couple of years. I got a tweet from my buddy Alex Denman, and he was saying, I really like Detroit. I just don't know if they're going to be able to put it all together while they have everybody on the roster. It's okay, because you can weed these guys out. You can weed these out. Troy Weaver also happens to be a phenomenal scouter. I mean, look at the roster. Look at his draft picks. Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham. I mean, he's a good drafter. Luka Garza, he's a great drafter. So they're just going to get more free agents to come here. I don't think long-term there's an issue with Detroit. But obviously, like every other roster, players will leave, players will come. But if you look at the starting lineup, tonight's starting lineup was Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, Saddiq Bey, Jeremy Grant. If Cade Cunningham actually is a star, which, by the way, casuals will watch this game, or they'll look at this box score, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 of 8 from downtown. Casuals are going to look at Cade Cunningham tonight and be like, why was he the first pick? People who watched the basketball game, even non-Detroit Pistons fans, will be like, because I'm not a Detroit Pistons fan. I mean, his impact was, you had to watch a basketball game. You had to watch the basketball game. Cade does a lot of things that don't show up in the box score, like a lot of key players in the NBA. And so Cade Cunningham, if he turns into a star like they're hoping and expecting, they're going to be just fine. No matter who leaves, they're going to be just fine. They got their guy, Cade Cunningham, and they are straight chilling. And then let's say Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, or Saddiq Bey turns into an all-star. They're just chilling. So Jeremy Grant, I mean, he's just continuing success in Detroit. And I'm really glad he decided to go to Detroit because he was a talented basketball player, but not too many people really knew he was a talented basketball player. He was, stuffed all the way down in Denver's rotation on the bench. And so he decides to go to Detroit, where he's got the opportunity to be the number one option. And boy, oh boy, has he done a good job at scoring the basketball and being that number one guy for this young and growing Pistons team. Saddiq Bey, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals for him. Also threw in three threes. Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, missed 2 shots, 9 of 11 tonight. I mean, this is a box score for you. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks. Isaiah Stewart, he's young. He's going to make mistakes like every young player, but he's going to have games like this. And very soon, he'll be having even more consistent games like this. So great game from Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew tonight. We already went through Cade. Let's talk about Killian because I'm feeling like a real stupid kid right now, man. I dropped Killian Hayes in fantasy basketball last week. And what has he done in the last 2 games? He's been a fantasy basketball assassin. Absolute stud. 13.7 rebounds, 10 assists, and a block. But here's the craziest part. 4 of 7 from the field and 3 of 4 from downtown. Welcome to the league, Killian Hayes. You played less than 20 games last season, and everyone outside of Detroit Pistons fans decided to write you off. Well, I'm glad you stuck with it because you're a stud. I mean, Killian is an all-around good basketball player. I don't like Killian Hayes slander. I don't know why I dropped him in fantasy. I'm hoping I can get him back up here after this week is over, but hopefully none of my friends watch this video because I'm very high on Killian Hayes. Josh Jackson, 15 points off the bench for him, 6 of 10. I mean, Frank Jackson, 3 of 8, 2 of 7 from downtown. He chipped in 14 points. Corey Joseph chipped in a couple of steals and 7 points. And Trey Lyles went perfect except for 1 missed free throw and dropped 8 points tonight. So Detroit gets them to 2-5 on the road, 3-9 total record. They're stringing together wins right now, and even in the non-wins, the games are much more competitive. So, Detroit, I'm looking at these stats here, folks, and they're telling me they're going to be special. They're going to be special. And you know what's even more important? The eye test is telling me they're going to be special. So that's really it for today, guys. If you want more Pistons videos, let me know down below. I've been trying to make a Pistons video. You guys have been telling me to make Pistons videos for weeks on weeks, so I do apologize. I will get back on that grind. That's it for today, guys. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, hitting that sub button, it really helps the algorithm. Even a comment really helps out that algorithm. So I will see you guys later. Peace.